Spring is here and it's a great time to buy or sell your home or property. And great deals are popping out all over. So call Agent Brian Howell, Charlene Lamb, Adam White, David Deeds, Jennifer Bradley, Jay Brantley, Jim Jarrett, Ruth Watson, Charlene Brantley, Raina Duberly, Yvonne Robertson, or broker George Durden. And get the help you need when it comes to buying or selling a home or property. Log on to c21dublin.com, call 272-1535, or stop by our location on Veterans Boulevard in Dublin today. Century 21 Durden Cornegay, broker George Durden.
It just hit me that it is May. Welcome to the May First Friday Means Business. This year is flying by. We have a wonderful, wonderful program for you this morning. Great program with the VA, and I want to say thanks to Levitt Insurance for being our sponsor this morning. I hope you've had time to enjoy a wonderful breakfast this morning. So we're going to return thanks for that, and then we will get into our program. So if you would, let's pray. Father, we thank you so much for this beautiful new day of life that you've given us today, Lord, and a great community to live, to learn, to work, and to play in. And I pray, Lord, that we would be good stewards of this community. And Lord, I pray that we would love one another as you've so freely given your love to us. Help us to encourage one another as we go throughout this day, and help us to be fulfilling in our quest to be more in your likeness. And I pray, Lord, that you would bless the food that's been provided to the nourishment of our bodies, and our bodies to your service. In Christ's name, amen. And with that, it is my pleasure to turn the microphone over to our board chair. Help me welcome Mr. Billy Frost.
And welcome to, like Keith said, it's already the first Friday in May. Wow, time's flying. This morning we are excited to hear from Sarah Colby with the City Council, with Ryan Waldrop from the Dublin Lawrence Development Authority, Jennifer Bryant representing the Chamber of Commerce, and Jeremy McCorkle, which is our sponsor for the morning. And then we're going to hear from the director of the VA.
Good morning, Dublin. Good morning. It's a great day and a beautiful day. We had National Day of Prayer yesterday, and that was just an amazing, sweet service. I just want to give you a quick update about what's going on with the city. We are full in budget season. So as you know, that is a lot of pulling back and forth to make everything work. So y'all can pray for us as we make all the little dimes and dollars work for the city of Dublin. A lot of people have had questions about Hillcrest. It is continuing on track to finish. And curb and gutter is going to be starting May the 9th next week. The curb and flat work concrete crews. Moy is continuing to work on the signals, and the erosion control subcontractor is continuing to work on the medians, and that started this past week. I want everybody to get out your phones. I know that's very unorthodox, but I want you to download an app. It's called My Dublin 311. My Dublin 311. Many people have questions about how to get in contact with their ward members for city council, or how to get in contact with different heads of departments. And a lot of people have misunderstandings about how our city government actually works. So on there is a city directory, events, but there's also a little button that says new request. And so if you see anything that's going wrong in the city of Dublin, or anything that needs to be addressed, or anything that's going right, you can actually attach a picture there, you can submit a request, and those heads of departments have to respond back to you very quickly. So that's everything from the gas department, sanitation department. You see a couch on the side of the road, you see a sidewalk that needs some extra attention because it's got grass growing over it. There's a gas leak, there's a police issue. Whatever you need, you can actually handle that right there on the My Dublin 311 app. So I hope that you'll take just a moment to download that and connect with your city officials and the staff of Dublin, who are very, very willing to serve you. We're very thankful for our employees in the city of Dublin, and last night we were able to pass a $1,000 allowance, one-time allowance for them. That's going to come out of ARPA funds, and that is net to them, so the city is actually handling all the taxes and everything on top of it, so that they will actually have a check cut to them by the end of June in the amount of $1,000. So thank you.
Good morning. Appreciate the opportunity to come and talk to you real quickly about a couple things that are going on at the Dublin-Lawrence County Development Authority. First and foremost, our work at the 257 rail service site continues to move forward through a permitting process and our construction design and construction plan. So we're really excited about that. What we're hearing from our partners at the state level is that site is rivaled almost with none other across the state. So we're seeing a lot of really good activity as far as companies that are interested in Dublin, they're interested in Lawrence County, they want to be here because of our logistics, being close to the Port of Savannah, being close to Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport in Atlanta. But again, all the due diligence, all the work that we've done that's going to cut time out of their construction budgets and construction schedules as they locate here within the community. So hopefully we'll have some great news to share before long on that, but I can assure you that staff and board members of the Development Authority are working very hard to help make some of these projects a reality. The other thing that I wanted to update you on, and I had a question about this last night, and then actually this morning as well, was the Georgia Access to Medical Cannabis Commission. I think I got that name really messed up, but we'll just go along with it. The commission, of course, last summer issued notices of intent for 6 companies to produce medical cannabis and pharmaceutical products here within the state of Georgia. And we've got tens of thousands of Georgians that can certainly benefit from these prescription drugs. But earlier, right after the legislative session, Governor Kemp appointed a new board chair to kind of keep this process moving. It seems to have kind of stalled out, but to make sure we've got the process going and moving forward. So he appointed Mr. Sid Johnson of Athens to head that commission up. So he also allocated an additional $150,000 to help with the administrative hearings to kind of move the protest period along that process is stuck in right now. So hopefully within the next couple of months there'll be some progress moving from that activity, and we'll have 6 licenses awarded throughout the state and hopefully one here in Dublin to produce this pharmaceutical product. Anyway, appreciate the opportunity to be with you this morning and look forward to hearing from you soon.
So far, we have a busy May coming up, so be sure to check your emails for ribbon cuttings that you can attend. We do encourage all chamber members to be a part of that so we can have a good showing from the community at those events. On Tuesday, May 17th, we have the Business Academy. It's bolstering your hiring strategies for 2022. That's on Tuesday, May 17th from noon until 1. A light lunch will be provided. Lynn Billing, the Senior Vice President with Safarion Staffing and Recruiting, will be the facilitator at that session or at that event, and she will cover employee engagement and retention in dealing with the pandemic and the mental health of employees. So that's going to be interesting. The cost for that is $35 a person, and we do have a few seats available. So if you or your company or a representative is interested in that, please get with Malia or contact someone at the chamber to make that reservation. That following Thursday, May 19th, is the post-legislative update in the State of Community program. That is sponsored by Altamaha EMC and Oconee EMC, so we would love for you to come to that. That's from 11:30 until 1 p.m. Both of these events are at the King Center where you're at right now. So the Representative Matt Hatchett and Senator Larry Walker will provide the post-legislative update. And for the State of the Community address, Mayor Joshua Kite and Brian Rogers, who is the county administrator, will give the update from the city and the county. A light lunch will be provided that day as well. The cost is $30 a person, and chamber members get a $10 discount. So if you're interested in attending any of these events, please contact the Chamber of Commerce. And of course, we would love to see you at the other ribbon cuttings throughout the month of May. So thank you so much.
Now let's hear from our sponsor this morning, Jeremy McCormick with Love and Insurance.
It is awesome to see a full house. You know, the past couple of years, we've had ups and downs with people being able to attend things like this. So it's nice to be here, everybody maskless, hanging out. It's great. We're just thankful to be a part of the Dublin community. You know, Love and Insurance has been here for a long time, and we're just glad to be a part of this and be able to sponsor things like this. I know insurance is kind of crazy now, post-COVID world. Everything's a little crazy, but insurance is going up for everybody, for their cars and houses and everything else. And if anybody needs any help with that, just give us a call, let us know. All right, thank you.
Allen's Heating and Cooling is your licensed Amana equipment dealer. Trust Allen's Heating and Cooling to install and service your heating and cooling unit. Allen services all brands, and with the purchase of a new Amana, offers a lifetime compressor warranty. Call Sean Clark or any of his friendly staff at Allen's Heating and Cooling, your Amana dealer. Amana lasts and lasts and lasts. Badcock Home Furniture and More is your home store, where you'll find great savings on new living room sets, sofas, love seats, recliners, and more. Badcock Home Furniture and More has great savings every day on bedding and bedroom sets. Shop Badcock Home Furniture and More for a great selection of dining room sets, and save every day on electronics and appliances at Badcock Home Furniture and More, 1927 Highway 441 South in Dublin. Call 275-3144 for more information, or stop by and see Wendy and Tim Sumner or any of their friendly staff today at Badcock and More Home Furniture Store, where no credit is ever refused.
I'm Heath Richter, and we just want to invite everybody to come on down to the Houston Clinic and check us out at our new facility. We've been in Dublin for a while now, obviously, but have a new office here, and we'd just like you to come down and see some of the new stuff we're offering. And if you need to get checked out, we'd be glad to do that for you. We've got able to do some ultrasound guided injections now, and physical therapy, and just a little bit better space, so hopefully we can get you in and out of here a little bit quicker.
Come by and see us today at our brand new location, the Houston Clinic, Medical Drive in Dublin.
Yeah, I did the same thing. Dublin Lawrence County loves its veterans. I'm sure everybody in this room feels the same way. We care dearly about the veterans that go to this VA hospital every day. I rode by it this morning. Traffic, good gracious. The parking lots, the buildings going on. It is so important to our community. So when the story came out and it put Mr. Davila on the hot seat, I know he was tickled to death that he's welcome to Dublin, is what I'm going to tell you. It created a stir in this community. Heath and I were talking the morning the paper came out. Had some people call. I had a few people calling me. I think Heath had a lot of people calling in. So we're going to hear from Mr. Davila this morning. He was appointed director for the VA Medical Center in January. He was an associate. He came here from New Orleans, where he was an associate director at the Veterans Healthcare Systems. He went there from West Texas, where he was an associate director in Big Springs, Texas. A Army veteran, all the way from Albuquerque, New Mexico, Mr. Manny Davila.
Very good. Thank you so much. And don't hold it against me. But I sincerely appreciate the opportunity. Having an opportunity to come back to a rural community was really first and foremost on my list, because I went from a rural community, which was a much, much smaller community than Dublin and the surrounding community here in West Texas. And so going from there to New Orleans, inner city New Orleans, was a huge adjustment, right? So when I had an opportunity to come back to a rural community, certainly can't beat the hospitality, can't beat the folks, and you certainly can't beat the staff that are out here. So tremendous opportunity. I'm very honored to be here. Most importantly, as a veteran myself, I certainly take issues for veterans very seriously. And so I've kind of put together a few slides that I wanted to talk through a little bit, but it's interesting about the article that came out, because I got an opportunity, as I do every day, as I go down and I'll get into some of our waiting rooms, full waiting room, and I keep thinking I have to rethink my strategy, but I'll walk into a full waiting room and everyone looks at me like, yes, can we help you? So I'll introduce myself and then I'll say, how are we doing? And boy, I'll tell you, you can't imagine how much excitement that causes. And I say that because, sometimes you get some head nods. Yes, we're doing very well. Thank you. And you get others that say, you need to sit right here and let me tell you exactly how you're doing, right? And so, I tell everyone that we certainly want to hear when we're doing good things, but we need to hear when we're doing things that are causing challenges for our veterans as well. So, I had an opportunity to meet one of our veterans. He was kind of sitting in a corner there, and I walked over and I said, "Good morning, are you doing okay?" And he says, "Do you know how old I am?" I said, "No, sir, I do not." He says, "I'm 92 years old." And I said, "Wonderful." And he says, "My fondest memory," he says, "I'm still living in the farmhouse just outside of town that my grandfather and my father lived in." He says, "So I've been here for several generations." He says, "And my fondest memory as a young boy was when we took the seats out of our car, filled it with the produce that we drove down to the VA to sell it to the construction workers who were building this facility." And I said, "Wow, what a story, right? What a tremendous story." And then the next thing he says, "And you wait till I get a hold of that new administrator, because I saw the article." So I said, "I'll be sure I'll let him know." But you know, of course, I had to come clean, and I had to tell him, you know, thank you so much, and tremendously supportive. And you know, of course, everyone, it goes without saying, right, that the facility has been here for several decades, and needs to continue, because the needs of our veterans in this area are real, and we need to continue pushing forward to ensure that we get as much care as we possibly can to meet the needs of our patients. I intended initially to talk a little bit about who we are. Of course, you all know who we are in this community, number one. But of course, our mission is a very noble one. But the truth of the matter is we cannot complete what we do without the support of our community. And we recognize that. There's some things that the VA cannot do for either congressional legislation or other things, but there's a lot of things that we can't do without the support of community partners and others that help us meet some of those needs that we cannot fulfill. But you know, just for the sake of disclosure, of course, you know, the VA, as you know, has 3 different arms to the VA, right? You've got Veterans Health Administration, which is us. Then you've got Veterans Benefits Administration, and then you have the National Cemetery Administration, right? So VA as a whole is the umbrella, and then we've got the 3 arms underneath there. We all know Secretary Dennis McDonough is the VA Secretary, and he's been there for a couple of years now. Very committed, very down to earth. You know, he makes it a point to come and visit veterans as often as he can. But talk about being at the tip of the spear. He's fighting daily for trying to get flexibilities that we don't have the legislative authority to do, and really working a great deal with our congressmen to ensure we get those done. We're part of what we call a VISN, V-I-S-N, Veterans Integrated Services Network, 7. We've got 22 VISNs across the nation. And our VISN here that we're part of is part of South Carolina, Georgia, of course, and part of Alabama as well. And so those VA facilities, and they are all in this network. And Dr. David Walker is my boss, and he's the network director over that region. And so, again, very supportive. He's an Air Force veteran himself. He actually lived and worked in the Macon area for a lot of years, lived in Milledgeville, and so he's certainly very familiar with the area. Our leadership team, very important. You know, we want to make sure that we've got the right folks in the right places at the right time, and I think that the team that we have here, that thankfully we're able to finally get a full complement, is doing a lot of really good things. We have Dr. Pam Jackson. She's our Associate Director of Patient Care Services. She's our nurse executive. We have John O'Brien. He's our Chief of Staff. Then we have, I have with me this morning Mr. Scott Reisman, who's our latest and final addition to the team as our Associate Director. And we stole Scott out of California. He says he was anxious to get out of there, so we're glad he's here. So he's been here for 2 weeks now. We're glad to have him. And of course, then we also have Mr. Ryan Baker, who's our Assistant Director. And the way we break it up is, you know, of course, we have a clinical team, our nurse executive, and our chief of staff. And we have our administrative side, which is Scott and Ryan, which work to fulfill all the requirements on the administrative side. So we have a really strong team. Don't have to tell you, as I've heard on many occasions, it's a revolving door. And so the point is, what we're trying to get to is to have a strong strategic plan that's irrespective of who's in the seats, and really pushing forward for the best we can get for our veterans, so that when other folks come in, they pick it up and continue forward. And so we're really working hard to make sure that we quantify that plan and ensure that we put some real strong actions in place to continue to resource the plan and going forward. Of course, VA mission, values, and other things. We've got our core characteristics, which we call I-CARE, which is our integrity, commitment, advocacy, respect, and excellence. That's what we teach our staff. And we make sure that our staff understand that we want our veterans to feel like we're here for them, because we are, right? So anytime we get situations that arise where we've had an untoward event, or we've had a staff member that wasn't quite as cordial as they should have been, we deal with that very quickly to ensure that we send a message. And the message is, we're here for our veterans, and we're here because of our veterans. And so we're not only thankful to have a job, but we've got a very, very important mission going forward. VHA, of course, is broken down into what we call our 4 statutory missions. First of all is healthcare, right? That's our primary mission, is healthcare to veterans, right? Education is our second statutory mission. I forget what the statistic is, but I know it's probably mid-70s, I believe it is, 75 or so, 76% of all physicians in the United States have rotated through a VA hospital. And so our educational mission is very big, and so we work really hard at that in every opportunity that we can get, and I'll talk about some of our opportunities local here shortly. Excuse me. Research. Research is our third statutory mission. And so we don't do a lot of research here, but we're looking at opportunities as well. Excuse me. And lastly, emergency preparedness. That's our last statutory mission. So several VAs across the nation have seen during the pandemic where the local leaders have requested the VA to invoke their 4th mission. So we call the 4th mission. So when you hear that, that's what that means. So when you think about the pandemic and how overrun and overfull the local community hospitals were and have been, it makes no sense for the VA hospitals to have beds, right? And open beds that we could be utilizing to help support our 4th mission. And so I know in New Orleans for certain, we opened up beds under the 4th mission. But again, our primary focus is always veterans, but we're also a community resource as well. So very, very important. Beautiful campus, of course, a lot going on, and I'll talk very generally about that. But our service area, I think, is important. So this VA, Carl Vinson VA, serves 49 counties across Middle and South Georgia. And so in those counties, we've got 6 what we call community-based outpatient clinics. And so we serve a veteran population of about 41,000, I think was our last number. But the interesting number for me that really sends us a message to me is that we have our potential veteran population of 170,000 in those 49 counties. So when you think about that, you think about the viability of this VA. We have a lot of opportunity here. And so one of the things that we're doing that I was going to cover a little later, but is looking at, my first question is, what are we doing to reach those veterans? Because there's 2 veterans, right? There's veterans that are receiving care on the outside who are very happy with their care, that don't come to the VA for one reason or another. Then you've got those other veterans that might be in rural areas that don't get any health care at all. Big issue, right? Big issue. So we should be reaching out to them. We should be going out to those communities as well, including our own community here locally. So what we did is we worked with our Office of Emergency Management nationally, and I said, you can't tell me we don't have any outreach vehicles that we could utilize and repurpose to Carl Vinson. And they said, we'll have to look because there's several around the nation because we didn't have any locally. Thankfully, they came back and we had delivered 2 beautiful large RVs, and they came in probably about 3 or 4 weeks ago. And so they're on site. We're working with our outreach program to understand how we're going to use those. And that's the goal, right? To get out into those communities and really make sure that we're providing the care that's needed there. So we're going to do a number of things, from vaccinations to examinations and other things that we can get out to our community as well. Don't have to talk a lot about the history of Carl Vinson, because I'm sure you all are a lot more well-versed on the history than I am. But, been here for a long time. And I want to be the first face that our new employees see when they come into new employee orientation. So I'm there early on those days of new employee orientation. And I tell them, congratulations. You're part of a long legacy and a long history of folks who have really provided tremendous health care to our veterans in this community. And so count yourself lucky to be here. And the hiring process is challenging sometimes. But again, we want to make sure we get the right folks here, right? Just a little bit of our operations. We do have about 30 what we call acute care beds, right? And so we're using a portion of those. When you think about the market survey that came out and said, when they looked at the data back in 2019 and said, your inpatient census is 2.8 patients. What a sad thing. And so I took that personally, and I said that's unacceptable, partially because we're taxpayer funded, right? And so our taxpayers and our veterans should demand more accountability and from us, and that's what we're going to give them. So some of our biggest functions, largest functions here are, we have a community living center, which is our CLC, which is AKA nursing home, right? We've got about 164 beds there. Again, very low census. Unfortunate, we're working through that. 145 mental health residential rehabilitation beds. And again, we had a very low census. We've worked through that. So we're doing really, really well. Our community living center is above half the capacity right now, and our mental health RTP program is at 82%, I believe it is. So we're filling those up where we should be. And then our acute care beds, we're getting to. Again, we don't do a lot of major surgery. We do lumps and bumps, right? But we're looking at other opportunities that we can bring some additional services in, and I'll talk about that a little bit. We have an urgent care center, very busy, very busy. I forget what last month's numbers were, 700-800 visits to our urgent care center. So that's certainly busy, but we want to make sure that we've got the right patients coming through, and those patients with the acuity that we cannot or should not be seeing, then we send over to Mr. Avery in Fairview as well. So outpatient primary care and mental health, certainly doing a great deal of that. And then, of course, we do have some limited specialty care, cardiology, pulmonology, urology, rehab, optometry, and audiology. But we're looking at all those programs. We really initiated a strong introspective look of what do we provide and what should we be providing, what could we expand, what could we grow, because the reality is we have the capacity to do a lot here locally. And no one's going to take care away from our veterans that is making a difference for them, of course. Of course, in the news really quickly, and you have to give me the high sign if I get long-winded, our sterilization event was in the news. I think we all heard that, and certainly not an awesome thing, and we took it on the chin. We have to. But the point of the matter is that we teach our employees that our safety of our veterans is number one. And if you feel that there's a situation that has created a potential impact for the safety of our veterans, you have the authority, regardless of what position you're in. Doesn't matter if you're a physician, doesn't matter if you're a housekeeper, doesn't matter where you are, you have the right to say stop, to stop the line. And that's what happened. One of our employees in our sterilization area said, I don't think we're doing this right, about another individual, and so we stopped. We didn't say, well, don't worry about that, we'll take a look at that and we'll get to it when we can. We take that seriously. We stopped. And because of that, it was not awesome. We had to cancel patients and defer care for a little bit. But our primary goal was to find out what in the world's going on, but we had to resume services quickly. So we talked to our sister facility in Atlanta, Augusta, to make sure that they were able to provide staff that could come down and continue the sterilization effort as we took our staff offline. And so they did that for several months. We just put our staff back on last week, I believe it was. So you think about that. Very, very strong and very hard look at what are we doing? Are folks trained well enough? Are our policies in place? Are all those things in place that need to be? So very, very important for us. And again, we continue that effort forward, but that stop the line is very, very important to us. The market survey, again, it identified a number of things, but the market survey was an assessment, right? And that's what we call it. It's an assessment that's done. Any organization, any large organization will do an assessment to determine where we put in our resources, right? And are we getting the return on the resources that we're providing? And so when you look at the numbers that were put, 2.8 patient average daily census, and we have what we call facility condition assessments, which are items that need to be corrected, such as air conditioning and things of that sort. When you look at those, that price tag was $175 million. So someone up there is saying 2.8 patients, $175 million to bring this place up to where we want it to be. Why are we doing this, right? Anybody would ask that question. But the answer is because it matters, right? So nowhere in our facility do we have our patients in substandard areas, right? We've got the Yugo and we've got the Cadillac, right? We're somewhere in between. So the facility condition assessment will get us to the Cadillac. And we'd all love to be there, right? But we're not there. And we're not going to be there anytime soon. We're going to get there eventually because every year we get more of those facility condition assessments completed. But again, we're on a journey to get to where we want to be entirely. Nurses Week. Of course, I have to mention Nurses Week for the nurses in the room and those of you who know a nurse. We're kicking off today, and of course, it's all next week. But again, our nurses, we always say, are the glue that holds the organization together. And so we really celebrate our nurses as much as we can. This week, we also have our long-term care survey. And our long-term care survey is our survey of our community living center. And they're in here to look and make sure that we're providing the right types of care for our veterans who stay long-term in our care. So they're here this week, and this is their last day today. So far, so good. And so we're really anticipating great things there. And then, of course, the last thing I wanted to mention there was the community food drive. We're doing another one of those, I think, on the 18th, I believe it is. And so we're pretty excited about that, being able to partner with the local food banks and all. Got a number of things to mention. I'm just going to close up here. Some of our ongoing efforts, of course, increasing access to veterans, that goes without saying. Whether it's primary care, well, I tell you, we've been sitting at around 200 or so. This week we kicked off our primary care visits here in Dublin were just short of 500. That's fantastic. That's awesome. We're really excited. We're really pushing hard to make sure that we're increasing those levels of access, not only in primary care, but in specialty care and other areas as well. Strategic collaborations that yield opportunities, opportunities for our veterans, and making sure that we get those strong partnerships in place for continued efforts going forward. Recruitment, it's a big issue, of course, for all of us. I know recruiting folks to the local area, we put a number of our incentives out there, all the incentives we have to offer, including education, debt repayment programs, and incentives, relocation incentives, and recruitment incentives, and we pay a lot of money to bring folks into this area. But again, I think there's opportunities for us to make sure that we get folks locally as well. So I'll talk about that in a moment. Primary care, women's health building. We do have a beautiful program. Let me just say, as a result of the market survey, there's a number of efforts afoot, right? They're always saying, well, what are you all doing going forward, right? And so we're not changing anything. We're not stopping any construction. We're not curbing any services. We're not doing any of that. We're continuing forward, business as usual, because that's the right thing to do. And so we're going to continue building this outpatient and women's health clinic, $16 million project. I think it's about 42,000 square feet. We've cleared the area. We'll have a ribbon cutting here shortly. And again, it's the right thing to do for our patients. Another really big win for us is the Fisher House. If you're not familiar with the Fisher Foundation, the Fisher House is like a Ronald McDonald House. And so we've been approved for one of those years ago, and not a lot of effort to get it here, get it done. So we've made contact with our folks who are the liaisons with the Fisher Foundation, and have spoken to the Fisher folks as well. And we're pushing that forward because it's the right thing to do. And so that Fisher House is, if you've never seen one, we built the first one. I had the pleasure of working to build the first one in Louisiana. Beautiful. I mean, HGTV inside all the way. It's ridiculous. It's really incredible. But really a beautiful thing. And so it's an opportunity for if the veteran's coming in for care or for surgery or to inpatient stay, then the family can stay there free of charge. And so really a tremendous thing. Our enhanced use lease, and I promise I'm getting done. Enhanced use lease is a concept that the VA uses a great deal of when we have an opportunity. So we have two buildings, very large buildings on the corner of our property that were earmarked for an enhanced use lease so that we could have an organization come in and rebuild those as housing for homeless veterans. And so had a call a few weeks ago, and my executive assistant, Marcia, she had to strap me into my chair because the call was all predicated on whether or not the VA should continue that effort in light of the market survey. And I said, what a silly thing to ask. And so I was up out of my seat once or twice. But bottom line is after we got done with the discussion, everyone agreed that it should continue moving forward. And so they're going to continue supporting that effort, and so we should see some efforts there as well. So really a great thing. And then lastly, I wanted to mention, had a really great discussion with the dean from the Mercer Medical School, Mercer University in Macon on Wednesday. And part of it was, I want to get around and get an opportunity to meet key individuals in our community, but strategic partnerships, very important, right? We had an MOU with Mercer some years ago that unfortunately expired. And I'm not sure why we let it expire, but we're not going to let that happen. We had a really great discussion. She's extremely supportive of the VA. Really great to find out she's actually a former Dublin VA nurse. And I said, well, how ironic is that? So really, really great discussions. And we're talking about a number of things, not only residents rotating in, but also looking at those opportunities for specialists and others. And so absolutely great opportunity for us. So I'm very excited about that. The one challenge that we discussed is resident housing. And so where do they stay when they come to stay for a period, right? And so we're going to be working on that. Currently what we do is we foot the bill and put them up at the Hampton. And so, but that's because we believe in the program, right? But those are the internal medicine residents that we currently do, but we've got several others that we could do as well. And so with that, I mean, I have a few more things that I could mention, but I just want to say we couldn't do all the things that we do without the support of the community. And I'll tell you, coming in, as was said recently, is that coming in was challenging. And here we are, not quite 4 months in. It's been like drinking from a fire hose, right? But it's the right thing to do, right? And I'm just very honored to be here and have this opportunity. And I'm very committed to making sure that we do great things for this community, because that's why we're here, doing great things for our veterans as well. But I'll tell you, the first thing I did when some of these things came through is I called folks around the community to talk to folks and say, here's what you're going to hear, here's what you're going to see in the news, right? Very supportive, extremely supportive. And it wasn't, someone coming out to say, oh my goodness, we've had problems with that VA, right? Everyone to a person said, how can we help, right? Huge, tremendous. And so very, very touching for me. But more importantly, it's the right thing to do for our veterans. So thank you. I appreciate the time, And I apologize if I went over time. Yes, sir, I did briefly. The outpatient in Women's Mental Health Clinic, as I mentioned, April 2023 is when we're looking to open that. So, again, we're still doing the site prep, and then we'll do a groundbreaking and then ribbon cutting as soon as the building comes through. But again, it's going to be a really great thing for us because we're, ironically enough, as large as the campus is, there's not a lot of space internally. There's a lot of things that we're doing and moving people around, but we're really looking for those opportunities because we have space, right? That's the one thing we do have. And so anything that we can do to build something new that's going to add additional flexibility, we want to do. So, very good.
I'm Thelma Zipperer. I first met Dr. K in March of 2018. In 2017, I had to quit work. I had to go on disability because of my heart condition. In March of 2018, I had gone to the hospital, to the emergency room, because I was actually in the process of having a heart attack. And, you hear the term God send, but I believe that God sent Dr. K to the emergency room. I believe he was on call that day for a reason, for me. They called him, he came in, and I had changed insurance because I had to go on disability, so the insurance has changed. So one of the first things I asked him, and he may not remember this, but the first thing I asked him, I said, do y'all take my insurance? And he said, without even batting an eye, he said, we're not talking about insurance right now. I got a patient that needs me. And I'm telling you, that said bunches right there. And then where the other doctor had given up on me and sent me home basically to die, Dr. K went to work and he checked my records. I mean, I have so many heart issues, but he didn't bat an eye. He said, let's fix this. And he started fixing. When I first started seeing Dr. K, like I said, I could barely get around. And now I can do almost anything I want to do within reason. And, I know that God sent Dr. K to take care of me and to give me back my life. And I was even on a diabetic medicine. I was taking 1,500 milligrams of metformin every day. And now as of about a year after I started seeing him, I'm off all my diabetes medicine. And my A1C is staying perfectly below where it has to be. I'm not just a heart patient when I come in there. I'm Thelma Zipperer. I'm a person that needs whatever he can take care of. And I believe that Dublin is so blessed to have Dr. K in this area. If not, I don't know where I would be right now, honestly. Anything that your body needs that he needs to take care of, he gets on it, and he don't stop, he don't give up on you. He says, let's fix this, and he goes to work. I would recommend anybody that even has an inkling they need a cardiologist or just want to check and make sure if they do or not. I would highly recommend that you go see Dr. K. You will be glad you did. You will. I mean, that's just who he is. He is just personable and an excellent doctor. So you can't beat that. You can't beat it.
Hello, my name is Steve Hardeman, and I'm the lead pastor of the Dublin Church of God. We want to give you a special invitation to come and visit us here in house. On Sundays, it's at 11 a.m. and 6 p.m., and Wednesday nights, it's at 7 p.m. Our church is located in 1059 Claxton Dairy Road in Dublin, Georgia. We are a church that ministers to the whole family to give them hope, to counsel, to love, and a place to grow. We invite you to join us on our spiritual journey. We're looking for that blessed hope and the glorious appearance of our great God and Savior, Jesus Christ.